Google just quietly dropped something that most people might just scroll past. And this might be the most important release in this month. This is not a large language model, but yet this is critical for a lot of enterprises. So this is an embedding model that can take text, images, video, audio, and PDF. An embedding model that is natively multimodal. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the model on a Google Colab notebook and what is special about this particular model. If you have ever built a RAG pipeline, you know the pain. So text goes into one model and then images go into another model. Then you have got like different setups for multimodal pipeline. Now what Google is suggesting is that, hey, kill every other embedding model that you have got and use this particular model because this is natively multimodal. So in one model, you can give text, you can give images, audio, video, and in fact PDF as it is. So today we are releasing Gemini Embedding 2, our first fully multimodal embedding model built on Gemini architecture. So this model supports text, images, videos, audio, and documents. So in terms of video, it supports up to 120 seconds of video in MP4 or MOV format, and it can also process up to 6 images per request, and text can be given until 8192 input tokens, and it can directly embed PDFs up to 6 pages long. This model incorporates Matryoshka representation learning, MRL. Now you might be wondering why it matters. It matters because Matryoshka representation learning, MRL, is a technique that nets information by dynamically scaling down the dimensions. So this particularly enables flexible output dimensions without having to use different models. So the default is 3722, but developers can use this one model with different dimension setups. Like for example, they can go from 3072 to 1536 or even 768, and then they can actually play with this dimension settings to have this right balance between performance and storage cost. And that is what Matryoshka representation learning enables Gemini Embedding 2 to do here. And in terms of performance, this model comes with a state-of-the-art performance. When you compare it with the models like Gemini Embedding 001, this model is better on multilingual. So not just it is multimodal, that is also multilingual. This model basically crushes every other available option in this particular case. So if you were to use this model, there are a couple of ways you can access it. You can access it through Gemini API or Vertex API. And I'm going to show you how to do the same thing using Gemini API. So this is a Google Colab notebook. I'll link it in the YouTube description. You can directly play with that. Only requirement is you have to go to Google AI Studio and collect the Google API key, and then go to your secrets and add the Google API key here. So once you do that, and then this is literally called Google API key, then you can run my code, and that code should technically work fine without any issue. So in this code, first step is we're going to import the right set of libraries. So we're going to use Google Gen AI, which is directly installed on Google Colab notebook if you're using, otherwise it is Google-Gen AI. Ideally, you are not going to download an image like what I have done in this particular case. And if you see, this is the image that I've downloaded. So it says a life of this world is merely an enjoyment of delusion. So this is very important for us to see how good the embedding is working. So I'm going to go back to the example later on. So once we have the image, we are downloading the image, and this image particularly, again, like I said, in your enterprise setup, this image might be in your RDBMS dataset. It might be part of your customer support ticket. It might be a marketing material. So you're not going to technically download it, but for this demo, we are doing this. After you do that, first I'm going to show you the multimodality, but not sending everything in one model. I'm going to just show you image embedding. Okay, so we are opening the image, we are reading it, and the image is inside this object called f.read. So we are opening it with this file, and then we are storing it in image_bytes, and then we are just doing the embedding of that. And when you display the embedding, you can see this is the embedding. Like I said, the default output is 3072. You can see here, that is what MRL is doing here. The default output is 3072, but you can go with 1536, 768, whatever dimension that suits you in your organization setup for the performance and storage cost. You can go ahead with that, but we are using it as it is, the default one. And you can see here 3067, 1 2 3 4 5 plus another 3067 items. So what we have basically done is we have taken an image, and then we have converted into numerical representation that can be used in a variety of tasks like RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, and even using it with LLM for semantic search and a bunch of things. Now what I'm showing you is instead of just doing an image, okay, here you can see here, instead of just doing an image, we are sending a text, and then we are sending an image. So you can see the output is 2 embeddings we are getting. So we have got, first we got only 1 embedding. Now we are getting 2 embeddings because we have got 2 types. One row is the text, what is the meaning of life. The second row is the image that we have got, which is basically the life of this world is merely an enjoyment of delusion, but the image has more detail. It's not OCR model. The image, as you can see here, it has got more information. There is a guy with a backpack and there is like a lot of greenery in the background. So you can see that there is like rich information in the image in itself. So we are taking the embedding and then we are converting it, or you can say kind of like flattening it and then showing it as a pandas data frame. And these are like the numerical representation. Like these numbers somehow try to encapsulate what is the information we have given in the text and also the image. So we have got 2 rows and 3072 columns. So technically you can store these embeddings as an RDBMS table. So in a typical SQL table. But if you want to use a vector database, you can do that as well. Once we have the embeddings here, what we are going to do is we're going to simply do like a plot and then see how the embeddings look like. Because this is technically multimodal thing, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for you here when you look at this. But what we are trying to do right now is we're trying to compare the similarity between these two. So this is called a distance metric in machine learning, and we are using something called a cosine similarity, which is one of the most popularly used method to compare embeddings in an embedding space, like the data points. So we are using cosine similarity here, and if you are building any sort of semantic search, you might have already used cosine similarity. So this is a number that goes from 0 to 1, and then closer to 1 means more similarity, closer to 0 means less similarity. So that's how it works. And you can see here for the text that we have given, which is in this case, what is the meaning of life? Similarity is kind of like 3.36, and it doesn't have like a lot of similarity. But now what if I change the text slightly more related to what is in the document, in the image? So I said the life on this world is a delusion. And once I do that, you would notice the same exercise. I've got the notebook here. You can check it here. For the same exercise, the similarity has increased. You can see from 0.3ish, we have gone to 0.43. Now, when I go give something like random, completely random, that is not relevant to the image, YouTube is great, you can see the similarity dropping. What I'm going to do here is, instead of just giving YouTube is great, I'm going to go here. First of all, I'm going to just literally copy what is available here, so that we are going to use exactly the same text, come back here, paste it, and merely a delusion. And honestly, like, I don't know how it is going to play out because it's an embedding. I'm just trying to show some similarity here. So I'm going to run this. At this point, we have created the embedding and we have got 2 embeddings here. And then we are going to collect the embedding here and then display it as a data frame, or store it as a data frame inside DF, and then build cosine similarity matrix. And then we are going to show it as a heat map. And you can see the embedding, the similarity has increased from what we have seen before, because now we are closer to what the content of the image is from the text in itself. Again, like, this is not a very rock solid example. What you can actually do is now you can build semantic search on top of it, like multimodal semantic search on top of it. I'm going to share this Google Colab notebook in the YouTube description. I think this is a great release, to be honest, and you can do a lot of things here with such an embedding model. The reason I love this is because this is, like I said, this is a multilingual and multimodal. So both multilingual, multiple languages, and at the same time it is multimodal. So that means you can have different modalities, including PDF. This is very fast, and you can convert a lot of your internal organization documents into the embedding space, and then build whatever that you want. Like, you want to build chatbot, automated question and answering system, or you want to have like a simple semantic search. Let me know in the comment section what you feel about it. See you in another video. Happy prompting.